Welcome to episode 55 of the Peak Performance Podcast by Brad Young. In this comprehensive guide, we explore how oxygen therapy can dramatically enhance athletic performance, accelerate recovery, and help you reach your peak potential. Whether you're a professional athlete or weekend warrior, understanding how to leverage oxygen therapy could be the missing piece in your training regimen. This document breaks down the science, benefits, and practical applications of various oxygen therapy methods for endurance and recovery across different sports and athletic disciplines. Understanding oxygen therapy, the science behind enhanced performance. Oxygen is the fundamental fuel that powers our cells and enables physical performance. When we exercise, our muscles demand more oxygen to produce energy efficiently. The harder we work, the greater this demand becomes. Oxygen therapy works on a simple principle. By increasing oxygen availability to tissues, we can enhance performance capacity and accelerate recovery processes. At its core, oxygen therapy involves administering oxygen at concentrations higher than what's available in ambient air, which is approximately 21%. This can be delivered through various methods, each with distinct protocols and benefits for athletes. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy is next, and it involves breathing pure oxygen in a pressurized chamber where atmospheric pressure is increased to 1.5 to 3 times normal levels. This significantly increases the amount of oxygen dissolved in the bloodstream, allowing it to reach areas with restricted blood flow and stimulate healing processes. Supplemental oxygen. This involves breathing oxygen enriched air through masks or nasal cannulas, typically at concentrations of 30 to 95%. Unlike HBOT, this occurs at normal atmospheric pressure and is often used during or immediately after exercise. Oxygen enhanced recovery rooms. Some training facilities create environments with slightly elevated oxygen levels, 22 to 25%, where athletes can recover between training sessions, enhancing oxygen delivery without specialized equipment. The physiological effects of increased oxygen availability are profound. When more oxygen is present in the bloodstream, it enhances mitochondrial function, the cellular powerhouses that produce ATP, our body's energy currency. This leads to more efficient energy production, reduced lactate accumulation, and faster clearance of metabolic waste products that contribute to fatigue. Additionally, oxygen plays a crucial role in the inflammatory response and tissue repair processes. By optimizing oxygen levels, we can potentially modulate inflammation, reduce oxidative stress when used appropriately, and accelerate the healing of micro tears in muscle tissue that occur during intense training. The performance benefits, how oxygen therapy enhances athletic capacity. The performance benefits of oxygen therapy extend across multiple dimensions of athletic capacity. Research has demonstrated significant improvements in several key performance metrics that matter to athletes across disciplines. One of the most immediate benefits is increased VO2 max, the maximum rate at which your body can consume oxygen during exercise. Studies have shown that strategic oxygen supplementation can temporarily increase VO2 max by 8 to 10% in trained athletes. This translates to greater work capacity and power output during high intensity efforts. Lactate threshold, the intensity at which lactate begins to accumulate in the bloodstream, can also be positively affected. By enhancing oxygen delivery to working muscles, athletes can delay the onset of lactate accumulation, allowing them to sustain higher intensities for longer periods before fatigue sets in. Perceived exertion, how hard an effort feels, is another area where oxygen therapy shows promise. Athletes report being able to maintain the same workload at a lower perceived effort when using supplemental oxygen, potentially allowing for higher quality training sessions and greater training volumes. VO2 max increase. Temporary improvement in maximal oxygen consumption during supplemental oxygen use. Recovery rate. Potential improvement in between set recovery during interval training. Inflammation reduction. Observed decrease in inflammatory markers following HBOT sessions. Beyond these acute performance benefits, Regular oxygen therapy may contribute to improved training adaptations over time. By allowing athletes to train at higher intensities or volumes, it can potentially accelerate fitness gains. Some research suggests that intermittent hypoxic hyperoxic training, alternating between low and high oxygen environments, may be particularly effective for stimulating adaptations in the oxygen transport system. It's worth noting that while these benefits are supported by research, individual responses vary. Factors such as training status, the specific protocol used, and timing relative to training all influence the magnitude of benefit an athlete might experience. Recovery acceleration, oxygen's role in post exercise restoration. Perhaps even more significant than the acute performance benefits are the recovery advantages that oxygen therapy offers athletes. Recovery is where adaptation happens. It's during this period that the body repairs damage and builds back stronger. Optimizing recovery is therefore crucial for long term performance gains. Oxygen plays a central role in the body's recovery processes. After intense exercise, muscles experience micro trauma and inflammation as part of the normal adaptation process. Oxygen is essential for cellular repair mechanisms and for clearing metabolic byproducts that accumulate during exercise. Muscle repair. Enhanced oxygen delivery accelerates protein synthesis and tissue repair processes, helping muscles recover faster from training induced damage. Cardiovascular recovery. Supplemental oxygen helps restore normal heart rate and blood pressure more quickly after intense efforts, reducing cardiovascular stress. Neural recovery. The brain is highly oxygen dependent. Improved oxygenation may enhance cognitive recovery and reduce central nervous system fatigue. Research on hyperbaric oxygen therapy has shown particularly promising results for recovery. A series of HBOT sessions can significantly reduce inflammatory markers and oxidative stress following intense exercise. Athletes report reduced muscle soreness and faster return to baseline performance when using HBOT as part of their recovery protocol. Supplemental oxygen used immediately post exercise has also demonstrated benefits. Studies show that breathing oxygen enriched air for 10 to 30 minutes after high intensity exercise can accelerate the clearance of blood lactate by 20 to 75% compared to breathing normal air. This more rapid return to homeostasis may allow for higher quality training in subsequent sessions. For athletes dealing with more serious injuries, oxygen therapy offers additional benefits. HBOT has been shown to enhance healing in soft tissue injuries by promoting angiogenesis, the formation of new blood vessels, and increasing collagen production. This can potentially reduce downtime and accelerate return to play timelines. The recovery benefits of oxygen therapy can be game changing for athletes with demanding training and competition schedules. By accelerating the body's natural recovery processes, it allows for greater training density and potentially fewer missed sessions due to fatigue or minor injuries. Sport specific applications, tailoring oxygen therapy to your discipline. The benefits of oxygen therapy extend across virtually all sports, but the optimal application varies based on the specific demands of each discipline. Understanding how to tailor oxygen therapy to your sport can maximize its effectiveness as part of your training and recovery program. Endurance sports. For endurance athletes like runners, cyclists, and triathletes, oxygen therapy offers significant benefits for both training and recovery. During interval training, supplemental oxygen between high intensity efforts can accelerate recovery and allow for higher quality subsequent intervals. Post training HBOT sessions can reduce inflammation and accelerate glycogen replenishment, particularly valuable during heavy training blocks or stage races. Many elite endurance teams now incorporate oxygen recovery rooms where athletes can spend time between training sessions to accelerate recovery and adaptation. Team sports. In sports like soccer, basketball, and hockey that involve repeated sprints and limited recovery time, oxygen therapy can be particularly valuable. Supplemental oxygen during timeouts or between periods can help clear lactate and prepare athletes for subsequent high intensity efforts. For recovery between games and tournament situations, HBOT has been shown to accelerate muscle repair and reduce soreness, potentially improving performance in subsequent competitions with limited recovery time. Strength and power sports. Weightlifters, powerlifters, and sprinters can benefit from oxygen therapy primarily as a recovery tool. HBOT can accelerate recovery from the significant muscle damage that occurs during heavy resistance training or maximal sprint efforts. Some strength athletes also use supplemental oxygen between sets to enhance recovery and potentially allow for greater training volume or intensity within a session. Combat sports athletes face unique challenges with weight cutting and multiple competitions in short time frames. Oxygen therapy can help accelerate recovery between fights and potentially mitigate some of the negative effects of rapid weight loss on performance. For technical sports like golf, archery, or shooting, the cognitive benefits of oxygen therapy may be particularly valuable. Improved brain oxygenation can enhance focus, decision making, and fine motor control, all crucial elements in these precision based disciplines. Altitude considerations also play a role in how oxygen therapy might be applied. Athletes competing at elevation may benefit from supplemental oxygen during warm up or between efforts to maintain performance capacity in the oxygen deprived environment. Conversely, those who train at altitude but compete at sea level might use oxygen therapy strategically to enhance recovery while maintaining the beneficial adaptations of altitude training. Practical protocols implementing oxygen therapy in your training regimen. Implementing oxygen therapy effectively requires understanding the various protocols and how they fit into a comprehensive training program. The timing, frequency, and method of delivery all influence the benefits you'll receive. Here are practical guidelines for incorporating different forms of oxygen therapy into your regimen. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, HBOT protocols. HBOT typically involves 60 to 90-minute sessions in a pressurized chamber. For recovery and performance enhancement, research suggests the following approaches. Recovery focused protocol, 1 to 2 sessions per week during heavy training blocks, scheduled on recovery days or after particularly demanding sessions. Injury rehabilitation protocol, 20 to 40 daily or every other day sessions depending on injury severity. Pre-competition protocol, 3 to 5 sessions in the week leading up to a major competition, with the final session 24 to 48 hours before the event. Pressure levels typically range from 1.5 to 3.0 atmospheres absolute, with 2.0 ATA being common for athletic applications. Higher pressures aren't necessarily better and may increase the risk of side effects. Supplemental oxygen protocols. Supplemental oxygen can be used in several ways within a training program. During intervals, use 40 to 60% oxygen during recovery periods between high intensity intervals, typically 1 to 3 minutes. This can allow for higher quality subsequent intervals and greater total work in a session. Post exercise, 10 to 30 minutes of 40 to 60% oxygen immediately after intense training to accelerate lactate clearance and begin recovery processes more quickly. Pre-sleep. Some athletes use 20 to 30 minutes of supplemental oxygen before bed to enhance sleep quality and overnight recovery, though research on this application is still emerging. Flow rates typically range from 5 to 15 liters per minute, with higher flow rates providing greater oxygen concentration. Portable oxygen concentrators are becoming increasingly accessible for athletes, though medical grade systems still provide the most consistent delivery. Integration with training cycles. The most effective approach integrates oxygen therapy with your broader periodization and strategy. Base volume phase. Emphasize recovery-focused applications to support higher training volumes. Intensity phase. Used during training applications to enhance interval quality and post-training for accelerated recovery. Taper, just competition phase. Focus on recovery applications while reducing training volume to arrive at competition fully recovered. It's important to note that oxygen therapy should complement, not replace, other recovery modalities. The most effective recovery strategies combine multiple approaches, including proper nutrition, hydration, sleep, and physical therapy techniques. The science of oxygen and athletic performance, mechanisms of action. To fully leverage oxygen therapy for peak performance, it's valuable to understand the underlying physiological mechanisms through which it exerts its effects. This deeper knowledge can help athletes and coaches make more informed decisions about when and how to implement oxygen interventions. Cellular energetics and mitochondrial function. At the cellular level, oxygen is the final electron acceptor in the electron transport chain, the process that generates the majority of ATP during aerobic metabolism. When oxygen availability increases, the efficiency of this process improves, potentially allowing for greater energy production. Research has shown that hyperbaric oxygen exposure can increase mitochondrial biogenesis, the creation of new mitochondria, and enhance the activity of key enzymes in the electron transport chain. This may contribute to improved endurance capacity and power output over time. Reactive oxygen species and hormesis. Interestingly, the benefits of oxygen therapy may partially stem from hormetic effects related to reactive oxygen species, or ROS. While excessive ROS can cause oxidative damage, controlled exposure can stimulate adaptive responses that ultimately enhance cellular resilience and function. Vascular effects and blood flow. Oxygen therapy influences vascular function in ways that can benefit performance. HBOT has been shown to promote angiogenesis, the formation of new blood vessels, which can enhance oxygen delivery to tissues over time. It also appears to improve endothelial function, potentially enhancing blood flow regulation during exercise. Some research indicates that HBOT can temporarily reduce blood viscosity, which may improve microcirculation and oxygen delivery to working muscles during subsequent exercise. Inflammatory modulation. The relationship between oxygen therapy and inflammation is complex and dose dependent. At appropriate doses, HBOT appears to modulate the inflammatory response, reducing pro inflammatory cytokines while supporting the resolution phase of inflammation. This can be particularly valuable for recovery from intense training that induces significant muscle damage. Enhanced oxygen delivery. Increased plasma dissolved oxygen reaches tissues with compromised blood flow. Cellular adaptation. Mitochondrial biogenesis and enzyme upregulation improve energy production. Vascular remodeling. Angiogenesis and improved endothelial function enhance blood flow. Inflammatory modulation. Balanced inflammatory response accelerates recovery processes. Neurocognitive effects. The brain is highly oxygen dependent, consuming approximately 20% of the body's oxygen despite comprising only 2% of body weight. Oxygen therapy has been shown to enhance cerebral blood flow and metabolism, which may contribute to improved cognitive function, motor control, and decision making during exercise. Some athletes report improved focus and reduced perceived exertion when using supplemental oxygen, which may be partially explained by these central nervous system effects. Understanding these mechanisms helps explain why the benefits of oxygen therapy can extend beyond the period of administration. Many of the adaptations, particularly those related to mitochondrial function, vascular remodeling, and inflammatory modulation, can persist for days or weeks after treatment, potentially providing cumulative benefits with regular use. Potential risks and considerations. Using oxygen therapy safely. While oxygen therapy offers significant benefits for athletic performance and recovery, it's not without potential risks and considerations. Understanding these factors is essential for implementing oxygen interventions safely and effectively. Oxidative stress paradox. While oxygen is essential for life and performance, excessive amounts can potentially increase oxidative stress through the production of reactive oxygen species. This is particularly true with prolonged or very high concentration oxygen exposure. To mitigate this risk, oxygen therapy should be used in controlled, intermittent protocols rather than continuously. Supporting the body's antioxidant systems through nutrition, adequate intake of vitamin C and E, selenium, and polyphenols may also be beneficial when using oxygen therapy regularly. Adaptation interference. Some research suggests that excessive use of supplemental oxygen during training might potentially blunt certain adaptive responses. The mild hypoxia, oxygen deficit that occurs during normal training is part of what stimulates adaptations like increased red blood cell production and mitochondrial biogenesis. For this reason, many experts recommend using oxygen primarily as a recovery tool rather than during every training session. Strategic implementation, such as using it during key quality sessions or during taper periods, may provide performance benefits without compromising long term adaptations. Medical contraindications. Certain medical conditions may present contraindications for oxygen therapy, particularly HBOT. These include untreated pneumothorax, certain medications, including some chemotherapy agents, claustrophobia, and some types of ear or sinus issues that prevent pressure equalization. Athletes should undergo proper medical screening before beginning HBOT and should always use oxygen therapy under appropriate supervision, particularly when first starting. Practical considerations. Beyond safety concerns, there are practical considerations that athletes should keep in mind. Accessibility and cost. HBOT can be expensive and may not be readily available in all locations. A full protocol of 20 plus sessions can represent a significant investment. Time commitment. HBOT sessions typically last 60 to 90 minutes, not including travel time to specialized facilities. Regulatory considerations. In some competitive contexts, there may be regulations regarding oxygen use during or immediately before competition. Athletes should be familiar with the rules governing their sport. Quality and consistency. The quality of oxygen delivery systems varies widely. Medical grade systems provide the most consistent and reliable delivery, but are typically more expensive and less portable than consumer grade options. Important safety note. While supplemental oxygen is generally safe when used as directed, it does support combustion and presents a fire hazard if used near open flames or heat sources. Always follow proper safety protocols when using oxygen equipment. When implemented thoughtfully with these considerations in mind, oxygen therapy can be a safe and effective tool for enhancing athletic performance and recovery. As with any performance intervention, the key is individualization, finding the protocol that works best for your specific needs, goals, and circumstances. Real world success stories. Athletes leveraging oxygen therapy. The theoretical benefits of oxygen therapy are compelling, but real world applications by elite athletes provide perhaps the most convincing evidence of its effectiveness. Across various sports, high performing athletes have incorporated oxygen therapy into their training and recovery protocols with notable results. In endurance sports, multiple Tour de France teams have adopted oxygen therapy as part of their recovery protocol during the grueling 3-week race. Riders use supplemental oxygen between stages to accelerate recovery and maintain performance as fatigue accumulates. Several teams have reported that riders using this protocol show less performance decline in the 3rd week compared to previous years without oxygen therapy. Olympic swimmers have been at the forefront of oxygen therapy adoption, with many national teams incorporating HBOT into their preparation for major competitions. One Olympic gold medalist credited a series of HBOT sessions with accelerating recovery from a shoulder injury, allowing them to return to full training just weeks before the games and ultimately perform at their peak when it mattered most. In the NFL, several quarterbacks have reported using portable oxygen concentrators during games to enhance recovery between offensive series. One veteran quarterback noted that this practice has helped maintain his performance late in games and may have contributed to his longevity in the league. Ultra endurance athletes face extreme recovery challenges, and many have found oxygen therapy to be a game changer. One notable ultra marathon runner incorporated HBOT into their recovery protocol between multi day events scheduled just weeks apart. Despite the compressed timeline, they reported feeling more recovered for the second event than they had in previous similar situations without HBOT. After incorporating regular HBOT sessions into my recovery routine, I noticed a dramatic difference in how quickly I bounced back from hard training blocks. What used to take a full week to recover from now takes just 2 to 3 days, allowing me to train at a higher level more consistently. It's been a key factor in my recent performance breakthroughs. Combat sports athletes have also embraced oxygen therapy, particularly for recovery between fights in tournament settings. Several MMA fighters have reported using HBOT between bouts in the same weekend, allowing them to enter their second or third fight with significantly less residual fatigue and soreness than they would typically experience. Even in technical sports, oxygen therapy has found applications. Elite golfers have reported using supplemental oxygen between rounds during multi day tournaments to enhance recovery and maintain cognitive sharpness. One professional noted that this practice has been particularly helpful during majors where mental fatigue can significantly impact performance in later rounds. While these anecdotal reports don't constitute scientific evidence, they do provide valuable real world validation of the potential benefits observed in research settings. The growing adoption of oxygen therapy across diverse sporting disciplines suggests that athletes and coaches are finding tangible performance and recovery benefits from these interventions. Implementation Guide: Getting Started with Oxygen Therapy. If you're convinced of the potential benefits of oxygen therapy and ready to incorporate it into your performance and recovery strategy, this implementation guide will help you get started effectively. From finding resources to establishing protocols, here's a practical roadmap for athletes at all levels. Consult with professionals. Before beginning any oxygen therapy protocol, consult with sports medicine professionals familiar with these techniques. This might include sports medicine physicians, performance physiologists, or specialists in hyperbaric medicine. They can help assess whether oxygen therapy is appropriate for your specific situation and help design an individualized protocol. Determine your goals and approach. Clarify what you hope to achieve with oxygen therapy. Are you primarily focused on recovery enhancement, performance boosting during key sessions, injury rehabilitation, or some combination? Your goals will help determine which type of oxygen therapy is most appropriate and how to integrate it into your training plan. Find resources and facilities. Research available resources in your area. For HBOT, look for sports performance centers, rehabilitation facilities, or dedicated hyperbaric clinics. For supplemental oxygen, explore options ranging from performance centers with oxygen bars to portable concentrators for personal use. Many high performance training centers now offer oxygen therapy as part of their service offerings. Start gradually and monitor results. Begin with a conservative protocol and monitor your response. Keep detailed notes on subjective feelings, recovery metrics, and performance indicators to assess effectiveness. This data will help you refine your approach over time for optimal results. Integration with your training plan. For most athletes, the following integration approach provides a good starting point. HBOT, 1 to 2 sessions per week, scheduled on recovery days or after particularly demanding training sessions. Consider more frequent sessions, 3 to 5 per week during injury rehabilitation or in the lead up to major competitions. Supplemental oxygen, used during recovery periods of interval workouts 1 to 2 times per week, focusing on your most challenging quality sessions. Additionally, consider 10 to 30 minutes of use immediately after these sessions to accelerate initial recovery. As you gain experience with oxygen therapy, you can refine this approach based on your individual response and specific needs. Some athletes find greatest benefit from consistent, moderate use, while others prefer to save oxygen interventions for key sessions or competitions. The key to success with oxygen therapy isn't necessarily doing more. It's strategic implementation at the right times in your training cycle. Used thoughtfully, it can be the difference between good and great performance when it matters most. Remember that oxygen therapy is just one tool in your performance toolkit. It works best when combined with solid fundamentals, proper training progression, adequate nutrition, quality sleep, and appropriate stress management. When these foundations are in place, oxygen therapy can help take your performance and recovery to the next level. Thank you for listening to the Peak Performance Podcast. Please like and subscribe.
I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.